Hello and welcome. Welcome back to Down to Mike's. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. I know I did. It was extremely enjoyable. I got everything I wanted and then some, and I spent a ton of money. So, probably the same as everybody else. Um, so, I guess we just work the rest of this year and try and just get back to zero so that we can do it all over again. Tonight, I have an old friend of mine by the name of Frank Ojic. He's got quite the story to tell, and I wanted to bring him on. He, boy, if anybody could write a book, it's this gentleman right here. So, without further ado, let's dive into this and see where the night takes us. What's up, Frank?
What's going on, Mike?
Oh
Thanks for
man.
having thanks for having me on, brother.
Oh, you're welcome. I actually wanted to when Jason and I were talking, and I think you commented on one of the shows, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah, we definitely got to get Frank on here." And
I'd love to get on here with Jay and just reminisce about the old times. A lot of good stories, man. A lot of good stories.
we do have a lot of good stories. I mean, Brendan Beach, man, how do you explain that to people? Honestly, before we even dive into you, I mean, how do you like? I just remember when I was younger, well, when we were out there camping, and I'd be, let's just throw a name out there like Tiffany. I'm dating Tiffany, and I go back to school and I'm telling my boys, yeah, I'm seeing this girl. Her name's Tiffany, and they're all like, "Yo, okay, you are, yeah, yeah, sure, buddy." You know, it's like every time, because I don't know, it's probably not as bad for you, but everybody lived in Syracuse, and I lived in Oswego, so when I tell stories about how my summer went and what I did and who I'm talking to now and going out to see Tia or whatever, it was I got the yeah right, you what stop making up girlfriends, Mike.
I mean, Brennan's was one of them. I mean, probably the best teen years, man, ever. Like a teen could have, literally. Like made lifelong friends, real true friends.
Yeah.
And it's like no matter the distance or how long it's been since we talked to each other, we pick right back up. Like,
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true
you
for
know,
everybody out there.
and I love it. Social media. Thanks to social media, we're all able to stay connected like way easier.
For
It's
sure.
just. And, but regardless, thanks for having me on Down the Mics, man. I watch every show.
Nice.
I love it. And you asked me to come on, and I didn't hesitate, man. I was like, let's do it. Let's
No.
roll.
No, I actually spoke with you earlier and I was like, can we dive in? Like let's dive into Frank, And
Whatever you want, man. I mean, I have so many stories, man. Like I said, I could write a book, but
well, here's where I want to start is let's go let's start with your parents. Did they start out in Syracuse?
um, well, my father that it was my stepdad.
Okay.
He was born in Puerto Rico, Spanish guy. For those of you guys watching, there's a lot of you guys that met him. Coolest guy ever. Mom, she, born and raised in Syracuse.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of eight. I got six half siblings, one full brother. I also have step brother, step sister out there as well from my
Are you
stepdad's
clicking?
side.
Are you clacking?
That's me clicking. Sorry,
Is
brother.
that your hand? Trying to think.
That's,
It's the nerves. All you got to do is sip that.
no, I got to take another sip. That's what I got to do,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Oh,
loud on my end. I'm just letting you know.
yeah,
I
close.
thought something was wrong, but
No.
no. So your mom has spent her whole life in Syracuse.
Yeah,
Did
she
your
was.
and your stepdad's what been in the picture the whole
My
time?
stepdad didn't come into my life until I was about, I don't know, I want to say 5 years old.
Okay.
My mom and my biological father. My biological father was full-blooded Native American from Canada. I was actually born in Canada. So I'm
Okay.
half Native American. Mom was full-blooded Italian, so I'm half Italian, half Native American. Stepfather didn't come into mom and dad split up. My mom and my biological father left. I was still in diapers when she came back down. Oh boy. And so my mom was a single mom for a little bit, then she met my stepdad, and that was it. They just complimented each other, Mike,
Yeah.
one black, the other made up for, and they were so cool. I mean, you met them, Mike,
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're
my mom was just so chill. Like none of us could do any wrong, dude. And stepdad, he, for one way or another, I don't know. We were what, 15, 16 years old at Brennan's, and you want a beer? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Come on. Like, so my parents were them cool parents, not strict parents.
Yeah.
They'd rather, if you're going to do it, we want to, be around so then you're not out there messing up, I don't know.
Well,
Like
I've kind of noticed that culture because my wife's Hispanic now, and I've gone to a lot of quinceañeras. I can't even say it right, and a lot of weddings since I met her 7 years ago, and they just party together. It's always everything's together, and I don't think there's a real age
yeah,
limit. Got a dog too?
that's my miniature Dotson. She runs the house, and apparently she's barking at air.
Oh, good. Maybe she's barking at my voice. But they do things together. So, yeah, if you're going to have a beer, he'd want you there having a beer with him. And the dancing. Did you have a lot of dancing in your house?
No,
No?
honestly, they would go out and dance in their younger years. They would
Uh-huh.
go out dance, and dad was always, my stepdad. He always, I call him my dad because he raised me. He's my
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah,
So,
we'll go. You can go
they
with
love
dad
to
for the
go out.
rest of this show.
My
Yeah.
mom would get on her fanciest J.C. Penney dress, and my dad would put on that cheap, $100 suit,
Yeah.
sharp little tie, and they would go out and they would cut a rug, man. I mean, they would get they could dance, like they would get the circle around them, and like it was wild. Okay, they stole the show on the dance floor,
Yeah.
but that's when they went out. There wasn't a lot of dancing at home, you know,
I got you.
not too much, but when they went out, they definitely danced. And of course, Brennan's Beach, the bands, they always danced up there.
Oh yeah.
They always had the bands every weekend. But,
Yeah, we had I didn't pull any pictures out, but my mother actually sent me pictures of when Jason and I went up there and sang "I'm Too Sexy" on the
the
stage.
karaoke days, huh?
Yeah, well, it was I think because Jason remembers it better than me. The band didn't show up, so they had a DJ, and I guess Jackie knew the DJ, and he allowed us to go up there and sing that song.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, that place was packed when we did that. Packed. And man, what a bunch of idiots. I'll tell you one thing I remember from you, and this still haunts me to this day. Because I didn't hit puberty till a late age, but I'm in the back of the rec hall, talking to everybody. We're all hanging out, and you came up behind me and gave me what was probably not hard to you, but it was hard to me, a punch right in the kidney. It was like, "Bow, what's up, Mike?" And I was just like, I had to like take a lap, try and catch my breath.
Oh, man. And it was probably just one of them little love taps, like,
Yeah,
what's up?
yeah.
Like, me always being a big kid, it was just heavy handed. I
Oh,
thought it
yeah.
was like,
Well, it came from left field. I think your feet were off the ground, but I was like, "Oh my God, that hurt like hell." And
It was all out of love, man. All out of love.
yeah, well, I
A
wasn't
little
mad.
test tap to see if you could take it. You
I
know.
wasn't mad at you, but I was just like, holy shit, man. Because I wasn't, I was looking the other way. It was one of those things that came in. I wasn't ready for it at all. And
You made up for it probably all the times you dunked on me on the 7 foot Brennan's Beach hoop playing basketball. Payback. You had to pay it back some way, right?
yeah, yeah, we got pretty good at ball up there. I got pretty good at ball up there. And
It was fun. I mean, that's all we did. Jeez. Like,
oh, from morning to night, basketball, basketball, basketball.
like you mentioned in one of your last shows, a couple shows back, why would we go shower up, get our best Friday night duds on, just to go up to the dance and play basketball again?
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's almost like we went up there without that intention. It just happened. Every weekend, it would just happen. You'd be like, oh, well,
Yeah,
might as well shoot hoops.
might as well take the court over.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I mean, there's some stories up there too. You know,
Yeah, we can dive into Brennan Beach, but right now we've gotten to your parents, and I want to. So, tell me a little bit about growing up. Did everybody? You say 8 siblings. Were they all in the house?
no, my 6 half siblings, they were from my mom's like first marriage. My mom was married when she was 16 years old. She had her first kid when she was 16 years old. So I have a brother that's literally like in his 70s. He's my oldest brother.
Wow.
He's my oldest brother. He's a full-blooded Italian. He still dresses like he's 18 years old, wears gold chains, and parties with the best of them. Like literally, like my brother. You know, he's cool as heck.
That's
Well,
wild. That's a big stretch.
oh my gosh, he's just, I guess you only live once. He was married once, and he said, "I'll never do it again," and that's it. He's just been living.
No, I mean like the age distance. That's a huge
Oh yeah,
stretch,
I
right?
was the
Yeah.
baby out of the bunch.
Yeah.
My mom had me. She was 45. She had me late.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then my brother Vince is my full-blooded brother. He just turned 55 October, so that's I'm 49. Gosh,
So, were you guys always in that house you got now?
we grew up here. Yeah, we grew up here. I mean, of course, we've moved out, had apartments here and there, but we found it full circle and came back to our roots. It was one of them things. We lost mom last year,
Yeah.
and it was one of them things. She didn't, she passed away, left no will. So 8 siblings is one of them things. We're like, well, we got rid of the camp, obviously, and then it's like, well, we got to sell the house. And my brother Vince and I grew up in this house. Our half siblings didn't grow up in this house, so we got that connection to this house.
Yeah.
And we were like, man, we don't want to see it like, get sold and go to crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're in the city of Syracuse. Landlords out of state will buy the house and just it'll go to crap to whoever they rent it out. So me and my brother, we offered an amount to our siblings. They accepted, and we bought the house. It's a 2-family home. My brother lives in the downstairs flat. I
Yeah.
live in the upstairs flat, and it just works. It's way cheaper than rent nowadays.
So did your mother always like rent out a section, like the top or bottom?
She did for a while, and then we got old enough to say, hey,
We'll rent it from you.
my brother Vince and my half brother Fred Pook, they ended up renting out, the upstairs themselves, and of course, mom pretty much didn't charge them anything, like
Yeah.
you know how it is.
Yeah.
But and then they flew the coop, went did their own thing, got apartments elsewhere, and that's pretty much it. But we always had this place to fall back on if hard times hit, and hard times hit. Let me tell you.
Yeah. We'll get into that. But right now so when you were growing up in the south side of Syracuse, how was I do remember spending the night at your house one time and seeing the chess champion trophies.
Man, that was
So
middle school,
I
seventh,
know
eighth
at
grade,
some point you're a chess champion.
7th, 8th grade, middle school, Syracuse, city of Syracuse. I think it was 8th grade chess champion. I was I was pretty good at chess back then. I mean, we had a whole tournament for the citywide, the Syracuse City School District,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I ended up winning the eighth grade chess championship. Ended up playing a seventh grader for the all-around championship, and I got beat by a seventh grader.
Really?
Yeah, well, that seventh grader, his father happened to be a grand champion at chess, so
Oh, okay.
I didn't feel so bad.
No, no.
The whole, all him and all his brothers played chess too, but I didn't feel so bad. So I had some chess trophies back in the day. I was like a little, kind of like, I didn't discriminate on who I hung with. I had like that nerdy crowd, and I had that cool crowd, that tough crowd.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's kind of what I want to transition into is, you got friends all across the spectrum, and
I do.
as you get older, we're getting into teenage years. You got Brennan Beach, and then you got a crew in Syracuse. So like, when did the I guess I'm trying to dip into where bad decisions start. Because I think we got a pretty big up and down that we're going to talk about here.
I mean, the bad decisions start. I mean, I can go back. I was in eighth, ninth grade going to the nightclubs, getting in for over.
Oh, really?
I had an older brother who was a big, tough guy, really well known in Syracuse. My stepbrother, and he was a bouncer at a lot of the nightclubs in Syracuse.
Yeah.
So I would go to when Syracuse had nightclubs, of course.
Yeah.
And then I would go to these nightclubs at 14 years old. And I'd go back to school on Monday morning, and I'm telling my friends all about how I went to this nightclub, and I'm drinking, getting tanked, and I'm dancing with these girls, and they're like in their 20s, and I'm 14 years old, man.
Yeah.
And again, I was always a big dude.
Yeah.
So nobody ever questioned it, and like, so, where did it all go bad? Like, you could say it started there, I don't know. Like,
well, I guess not where did it all go bad, but like where did the decision start? Like, okay, so now you're getting into clubs at a young age, and you're able to drink and dance with girls, and so what, and I know that, one thing leads to another with crowds that you get into, and I'm just, I know of some times where, you've had to get what was yours. I don't know how else to put it, as far as collecting. You had the Dodge Duster, right?
and a Dodge Charger, the little hatchback.
The hatchback Dodge Charger. And I just remember pulling the billy club out of that thing and saying it was like a totem pole.
That's probably when,
it looked like a totem pole.
Like, I could tell you, yeah, it was carved. It had a dragon carved into it. It was the coolest billy club ever. I wish I still had that. I lost it somewhere in a fight. Don't know where, but I could tell you where. I could probably, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying there's got to be a start to where your turn, and this isn't really a turn. I'm not saying every decision you made was bad at that time. I'm just saying things kind of snowballed maybe around after high school or right in high school.
It was, probably 18, 19, 20 years old. I was, I had two older brothers that were well known in Syracuse for, being badasses.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was living, and this is where it probably started, and on a different level than what we're going to get into in a little bit, because I know what you want to get into, and we're going to tell that story.
Yeah.
But where it all started was I had a couple brothers that were known in Syracuse, pretty badass, could, handle their own, this is when fights were with fists back then, everybody's using guns and knives, and it's crazy now.
Yeah.
I lived in that shadow, and I didn't want to live in that shadow no more.
I got you.
I said, you know what? I'm going out here, and these guys are afraid of me because of who my brothers are. I'm like, I don't want to live in that shadow, So I started making my own name.
Yeah. And
I
that makes
started,
sense. Yeah.
Okay, it was a name of, fighting here and there, going to the club, getting in a club fight myself, because, my brothers, they were out there beating people up in bars and clubs, and then word to get around and say, oh, this dude's tough, So I started doing it, here and there. Of course, I wasn't probably doing as much as, they were. But
I just thought of something that I don't know if, correct me if I'm wrong, but have you ever had an entanglement with some wrestlers that
no, there's a story of Booker T, but the one you're thinking of is probably the Shawn Michaels. That was at Club 37. That wasn't an entanglement with me. That was some military guys.
Oh,
that was
and the British Bulldog.
What's that?
Wasn't it the British Bulldog?
The British Bulldog and the 1-2-3 Kid were there, but Shawn Michaels was talking to one of the military's guys, girls or something like that. They ended up jumping Shawn Michaels, and the British Bulldog and the 1-2-3 Kid were in the car, and they were trying to get out to help Shawn Michaels, but the people kept slamming the door shut. When you're in a car, it's hard to push that door open when people are pushing up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even the British Bulldog, he was jacked. But they beat the crap out of Shawn Michaels. I mean, he literally I've never seen somebody get picked up and slammed on a fire hydrant. They're right on his back.
Oh my God.
Fire hydrant. And that's why he ended up having to give up his WWF title back then and literally had to forfeit it because he really got his butt kicked at Club 37 in North Syracuse out there in Route 11.
Well, you're that guy in a lot of people's brain down here for that story. Because I thought it was you.
No. Definitely wasn't me. It's all over the media who it was. It was some military guys. And he said it. He said it right on TV. He said, if it wasn't for them 4 punks, Syracuse, but no, that one wasn't me.
Shit. Were you with us year 2000? When that dude fell off the building?
Yeah, Mike App was there. The dude.
His feet hit Mike Apt in the shoulder.
He hit Mike Apt in the shoulder when he came down, and it was like, again, I saw the show when you or Jay were talking about it.
Yeah.
You and Belge, and that was a wild night, man. That was just that kind of ruined everybody's night because it was like
it ruined everybody's night, and it especially ruined that guy's night.
Dude, he fell off. He was up there partying. He was on the fire escape, and he, because there's apartments up there, so he came out to the fire escape because that year they decided to have a ball drop in Armory Square in downtown Syracuse.
Yeah, we were waiting to get into a bar.
It never happened again. So he's out there on the balcony, 5, 4, bloof.
Yeah.
He must have leaned over too far and just tumbled off of it. And
he was pretzeled on one of those metal grates that
go into the ground.
That go into the ground.
Yeah, like a utility grate or whatever it is that go. Yeah. And I think we all went home after that, right? We're kind of like Happy New Year. Like we were like, okay, we can't celebrate right now.
We were like, well, this night's over. It was like, that's kind of a bummer, because I mean, he landed in the middle of us. Like we're all waiting to get in. We were all waiting to get into the bar, and just blam, and then you turn around, and I saw the finger twitching and non-responsive, and then
he died. He died. He definitely died. He didn't make it. He was done when he hit.
Yeah. That was all.
And I'll never forget the smack. What was his skull?
Yeah,
it was like a bowling ball hitting the concrete from 5 floors up.
Yeah, it was a night killer. It was a night killer for sure. And that was supposed to be the big, like that was our big year 2000. Who else is going to be alive to see? That was supposed to be our moment.
That was the switch over to 2000 and
Y2K,
the big blackout, and everything everybody was predicting that was going to happen.
It was a blackout for that guy, you know. Shit.
I don't even want to laugh, but I gotta laugh. Oh
Rest
my
in peace,
god,
buddy. You
that's
clumsy
horrible.
fuck.
Yes, rip 100%.
But so yeah, I mean, we we can easily go off the board here, and I want to keep it on you until we get to present day, and then we can take it to any topic you want.
It's fine with me.
But I think, you know, here's, yeah, things got a little dirty, you know what I mean? But over the years, obviously with Facebook and everything, you're able to pay attention to what people got going on. And if we got to just start with this statement right here, I'm very proud to see where you're at now.
Appreciate you, man.
You know what I mean? Like to take control of what you got and what you've made, and then take care of it. That's there's something to be said for that. You know what I mean? That's why I want to tell this story, because there's not a lot of guys out there that take that road, the road you took. It's not the easy road to take.
There's not.
So, that's why I want to get to, where things started going. So I guess where we're at is you want to make a name for yourself.
And before we keep going into it, I want to let you know, and I want to let everybody watching know, the stories I'm going to tell, everything I've done, these were my decisions. It had nothing to do with my upbringing, nothing to do with my parent, my mother and stepdad's parenting. They did everything right.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to think that, because I said, no, my stepdad used to, here, you want a beer? No, that was just his way. He wasn't a bad dude at all. These guys, they did everything right with the parenting wise. They raised with love. Holidays came, birthdays came, everything went right.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody's assuming that.
No, I just want to put it out
there. I guess I'm especially not, because I knew your parents.
Right?
They were awesome.
Right.
And just such nice people. And that's what I mean by, sharing a beer in that culture, in your dad's culture. It's not looked upon as...
No, it's not frowned upon.
It's not frowned upon.
No.
And actually in other countries, kids they have a drink at dinner. We're the only country that doesn't do that. But, I didn't learn that until I got older and actually saw other cultures with their families and understood how they work and how they party. It's different. It's different. It's always fun within the family. And I don't know if your dad did this, but just to add this in there, when Aurelis and I did first start dating, I always found it funny that we'd go over to her house. Her mother would be having a party for everybody, and we'd go over there. And I think I went over there for New Year's one year. We're outside, Frank, outside in the grass with a fire pit going, and everybody's, I'm in sneakers, jeans, a t-shirt, maybe a sweatshirt. They've got high heels, dresses, makeup. They're done to the nines for a backyard party. And that's how they roll. That's how they roll. And I just always found that wild. Some people had wardrobe changes. I think one of Aurelis's cousins went in and came out in a different outfit. And I was like, holy shit, we're not going anywhere, people. We're not leaving the yard. What are you guys doing? It just, and I even got yelled at this past Christmas because her mother told me not to come over in sandals. She's like, we're taking pictures, Mike. Bring shoes. Like, oh.
So you got to put on the button up, and you got to.
But but yeah, I don't think anybody's. I'm glad you cleared that up, but I don't think anybody's gonna. It wasn't your parents. But let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Cheers, by the way, brother.
Cheers. 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 So where are we at? 18, 19, 20. Making a
18,
name
19,
for
20.
ourselves.
Making a name for ourselves.
Yeah. So
Definitely
we're
was.
right around 01, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Around there.
Which I'm already living in North Carolina, by the way. I've been there almost 3 years. But so where we at? Kick it off. What are we doing up there in the Q's?
18, 19, 20 or current day?
Not current day. We're gonna get to current day.
18, 19, 20 was like, still, still going out to the clubs. Still, this was, Brennan's Beach days were what, 15, 16, 17. Yeah. I think we all started growing out of it, doing our own thing, 18, 19, 20. We would still go up there, make the parents happy,
Yeah.
But by that time, we were doing our own thing. We're all, steady girlfriends, or at least, I was going through girls left and right, going out to the nightclubs. Pretty much just out here on the streets, driving around, working jobs here and there. But just worried about getting out there and clubbing and partying and girls. That was like priority back then. It was in my eyes,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the mentality I had back then was just ridiculous, but still making that name. And I think by 19, 20, started making a little name. And I don't even, I don't know. I wasn't on the other side to know if I was getting that name, but
yeah,
pretty sure I was. But then 21 came, and woohoo! I'm 21 now. I could actually go and show my actual ID to drink now. I wasn't even excited because I've been going to the clubs.
Yeah, you're a clear veteran.
Yeah, but now I can go to more than just the club that my brother was working at, and he worked at quite a few. So, but then the drinking and pot smoking back then and all that. I think a bunch of us dibble dabbled it into pot back, even when teen years, I guess, here and there,
Oh yeah, yeah, here and there. But I think that yeah, in high school, a little bit for me and a little bit at Brennan Beach. But it kind of fizzled out because I was the type that just got so paranoid. I had no idea what was going on around me. And I didn't like that feeling of
no, it's not a fun feeling. I know what feeling you're talking about. That's like if I was to pick up a joint or a bowl right now and toke, I would get that paranoid feeling.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's that weird, like, no, I don't like this feeling.
You're out of control, you don't have control anymore, or you can't it wasn't relaxing for me. I mean, there was times where I had one buddy where we kind of set up the stage where nobody's going to bother us. We're not coming out of the bedroom. Like, we're going to sit here and eat some food and watch wrestling or something. And we would, we'd get lost. We'd grab a 2-foot bong and lose ourselves. And it was fun and it was relaxing and it was, we had a good time, but you try to walk out in public. Oh, I could not do it. And then it just didn't stick with me. Once I moved down to North Carolina, I didn't, it just wasn't my thing.
2-foot bong, Mike. I think I would die now.
The coughing, man. You got your buddies over there throwing up a lung going, that's what makes it better. And you're like, this is fucking horrible, dude.
Smoke a menthol. Your high will stick around longer.
Yeah.
What was wrong with us? What the hell was wrong with us, Mike?
We're kids. We're kids.
I don't know. Yeah, we're kids for sure.
Did you do a lot of hanging out at the carousel?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were times, you go there, I mean, Syracuse, obviously, there's not much to do in Syracuse. The mall is what to do in Syracuse, and it's always kind of been that way.
Yeah.
Except back then, there was more than just the one mall. Shopping town was still open. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah, there was hanging out at Carousel, of course, because that was the place to be, right? Everybody was going to Carousel,
Well, yeah, that or Blockbuster.
and Blockbuster videos. Yes, yes. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Good
But
times. I mean,
what I really want to know is, how did it get so big? How did that turn into something so big that, because it's hard to get in trouble for selling weed. You know what I mean? It's not like you were out there peddling heroin, but from what I remember, they wanted some franc for selling weed, and the amount you were selling had to be substantial for people to actually be looking for you.
well, it was on a federal level.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to, that how much.
Well, it becomes federal. It becomes federal when they find out you're bringing it in from another country.
Yeah. So
And
was that at 22
no, that was in my 30s.
in your 30s?
That was mid 2000s. We're gonna say 2006, 7, 8 ish, around there.
Okay.
Um, I was making money back then. I was living that lifestyle, and didn't care.
Did it pretty much just come down to, the money? Like, ooh,
The money,
this is good money. Let's
the wanting to be somebody but I wasn't that person. Like, that's what it all comes down to in the end. But we'll get there. I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I at that point I had a name. I'm like, all right, I got a little name of scrapping people here and there, but I want something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's what I'm getting at. And that's what I've seen too is I think you're who you're supposed to be now, but you're trying to be somebody else then. And environments can do that to us. You know what I mean?
absolutely,
I
I
think
mean,
environments are everything because when I was up and just before I left New York, I was getting in bar fights every night. And most of the time it wasn't like I wasn't trying to make a name for myself. I was just trying to get with women. And every time every time I'd get with one, they had an ex-boyfriend there too. Every fucking
every
time
time.
there was an ex-boyfriend that wanted to punch me in the back of the head or something. I just end up in a fight every night. And then when I came down to North Carolina and I went to the club, I was double fisted. Boy, I was in there having a good time, and I turned around and I bumped this wall. This guy had to be like 6'8", 400 pounds, and I'm just taking my hat off, setting my drinks on the bar. I thought that's it. I'm gonna lose, but we're fighting. And the guy just turned around and goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry." And I was like, "What? I'm sorry, what?" And he goes, "I'm sorry, man. Let me get you another drink." I said, No. Let me get you another drink. I was like, this place is awesome. And then, I never left. I never left.
That's it's the New York mentality. It sucks, man. Like, the attitude.
Just to
You can't
be
even
that.
go downtown. You can't even go downtown Syracuse right now without 50-50 chance of something happening, and it's not even your fault. You're just sitting there minding your own business.
Yeah.
And it's like that bad right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't doubt it one bit, and it's unfortunate, and I think it's the weather. I think it's I think it's the weather. I think that cold, wet, always cloudy, you're just miserable. And what else do you do besides have a drink? There's nothing
There's
else to
nothing
do.
else. Exactly. There's nothing else going on in Syracuse. Exactly. So it's like, here you go. Fast forward to me, the federal level. Guess what? I made it fun. I made money, was spending money how I wanted. I was making it more fun. You
Yeah.
know, Mike, I was renting limos and going downtown Syracuse every night, renting out not every night, every weekend, renting out the club, the VIP section, like it was Las Vegas. Who the hell does that in Syracuse, New York, and Armory Square? This guy. Why? Why? Because I thought I was Big Willie
Yeah.
and trying to be somebody who I wasn't. And I was the type of friend. I call my friends up. Hey, you coming out? Oh, I'm broke. No, no, no. Just get ready. I'm sending a limo to go come get you right now. They would come down in the limo, and I'd already have the bottles bought and popped in the VIP section, and
Yeah.
I was just blowing money as quick as I made it. Idiot, had nothing to show for it now. Like zero to show for it. But
Yeah. Well,
that's neither here nor there.
I mean, you were young. You had you know, I mean, the clubs, you could damn near say you about grew up in them from 14 on. So, yeah, of course you want to rise to the top of that situation. And if that's the way you do it, then that's what you did to get there. And but I mean, I'm still seeing somebody who took something and succeeded at it. You
Oh
know
yeah,
what I mean?
oh yeah, oh yeah. And right around, I also ended up becoming a bouncer at a few places in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Um, 2006, I believe it was around 2006. I was bouncing at a couple little clubs in Syracuse. I ended up bouncing at the Alpine Strip Club. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was a good time. I
It
don't think I've
was,
ever heard any boring stories come out of it starts with a strip club. Yeah.
it was oh man, stories for days. But yeah,
Yeah, we
anyway,
ain't got to get into that. But
no, we're not gonna get into that.
I think everybody, that's just implied.
But that was fun, and
I'm sure it
that
was a
was
good
right.
time.
That was around the same time as doing my thing with the weed, you know, move some big weight. I mean, I was, moving some big weight. I wasn't just here, come get a $10 bag from me. It was like if you wanted to deal with me, you had to do a pounder up.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but and it all fell into my lap. It just fell into my. It literally just happened one day. I didn't go out looking for it. It just happened one day. Somebody was like, "Hey, by the way, blah 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 blah." I said, "Okay, let's try it out." Ended up meeting a few people, this, that, and the other. Boom, boom, boom. One thing led to another, and it was like, next thing you know, getting this day, and it was gone in 3 hours. Like, whoa!
Easy money.
I'm just looking at this money that I got now, and I'm like, I need more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's this saying in the movie Below.
Same.
Everybody's have seen the movie Below.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't like to sound like I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging,
Uh huh.
but in the movie Blow, he speaks of if you were doing cocaine and from this year to this year, there's a 95% chance it came from me.
Yeah. I remember
If you
that.
were if you were smoking marijuana in and around Central New York from anywhere from 2005 to 2008, 2009, there's a 95% chance that it came from me.
Yeah. So that's that's federal.
Yes, definitely.
That's a lot.
And you wanna jump right in it now? I mean, we're on the subject now, Mike.
Let's jump in it, man. Let's hear it. I
I
mean,
mean,
don't hold
what
back.
what questions do you have? I mean, you want me to just go? I'll go for it, man.
Well, I want you to just talk about it. Yeah, I don't even need to speak the rest of the night.
Late 2008, it went downhill. This guy I was dealing with, we partied together. We did everything together. Trusted him, yada yada.
Yeah.
He ends up turning federal informant, wearing the wire, this, that, and the other. Boom, that's where it all crumbles.
What year was that?
That was around Halloween time, 2008.
So around 2008.
Late 2008.
The dude you've been partnering with.
Kind of partnering with. I mean, he was one of the guys that were getting a bunch from me, a good amount from me, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was kind of just like playing. I was just like the middleman guy. It's like, hey, I know who can get, and I was getting a cut, yada yada, basically type thing. That's how it goes, anyways. Everybody's the middleman, right?
Yeah.
Like if so. But and I was pretty much. This was on the outs. This was like me almost being done anyways, but he kept me in there. And now I realize why he kept me in there. Kept saying, oh, no, I'd rather you be there, blah, blah, blah. It's because he was trying to, the whole federal thing. And
yeah.
Anyways, the indictments all happen. The feds kicking everybody's doors on the same night. There was 26 people or something like that went down in my case. They went to my house, and at the time, I was living in the apartment where I am at right now, above my mother. My mother was alive at the time. I was working at the Alpine Strip Club at the time, and I had worked that night. And instead of going home, I went to one of the strippers' houses. Was hanging with her all night. Hanging with her 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. My phone's ringing off the hook. It's my mother. I'm like, why is my mother calling me? I'm with this stripper.
Yeah.
I answer the phone call from my mother, and I'm ignoring it.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm like, all right. I don't know. I finally, like an hour later, I leave the girl's house. It's butt crack of dawn. I finally call my mom back. Frankie. My mom always called me Frankie.
Yeah.
You better get your ass home. Why? U.S. Marshals, DEA, state troopers, they all came to the house looking for you. I said, all right, Mom, I'll call you in a little bit. Click. Called my lawyer. Have him on speed dial. Shout out Jeff Roberts. He's a great attorney in Syracuse. Great criminal attorney. Anyways, shout out Jeff Roberts. But so called him up.
Shout out.
Called him up. Says, well, you probably know what they want you for. I'll give you some time. Blah, 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 blah. Say bye to your kids, because, spend some time with your kids. This was on the weekend. I said, we'll go down there on Monday morning. Turn you in. Monday morning came in. I never went down to get turned in.
Oh, no?
I got scared. I got scared.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Got scared. Ended up in Canada.
So you got scared and booked it.
I mean, it's my right to travel freely, across the border. Being a 50% Native American, they can't deny you, So I went up there, and 2009 came rolling around.
How many kids you got at this point?
I got 4 kids.
At this point?
At this point, I have 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a daughter.
Okay.
My oldest boy still lives with me. He's on the spectrum, also autism spectrum. He has some health issues going on, but he stays with me, and he's gonna stay with me for however long he wants.
Yeah. Well, he stays with you now.
Yeah.
But if we're
My other
talking,
three, yeah, he stays with me now. My other three, my other boy and my daughter, they have their own place. My youngest son, he's down in Florida doing his own thing. He's actually going to school for cybersecurity.
okay.
Yeah, he's really good with computers and stuff like that. So he's going to school down there for cybersecurity. He just turned 21, so my youngest is 21. But
Oh my God.
so I'm up in Canada. 2009 rolls around. I find out I'm number one on Onondaga County's most wanted list.
Gotcha.
Said, okay, on Onondaga County's most wanted list. I'm up in Canada. Well, they can't touch me up here. My reservation. I'm wanted on Onondaga County's most wanted list. I enroll in college in Ottawa at Algonquin College
Uh-huh.
while I was on the run. Going to school, getting paid to go to school, native rights, blah, blah, blah. End up getting a job. I went to culinary school. I went to college for culinary school, took the 2-year program, didn't even finish it. Ended up getting a job as a sous chef, working at these places. End up doing a gig, a cooking gig, mind you, I'm wanted down in the States by the U.S. Marshals for weed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that's legal now, but it's still not legal on a federal level, obviously. But so I ended up doing a gig for like Ottawa's Parliament Hill, cooking a big like catering gig for them. Prime Minister of Canada literally ate the food and everything. This is well wanted. Cuba Gooding Jr. was filming a movie right down the street by Parliament Hill because where I was working as a chef was like a block away from Parliament Hill. He came in like 6 out of the 12 days and ate. I cooked for him. This is why I was wanted.
Yeah.
Anyways, fast forward. Working. End up going back to the res. The U.S. Marshals end up sending the warrant up to the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Royal Canadian Mounted Police are basically like the feds of Canada. You know what I mean? They're basically go where they want when they want. They still are not allowed to come on the reservation though. So I'm on the reservation at this time.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere along the line, on my reservation up there, there's res police.
So how long were you up there?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
And at this point, you have the 4 kids that you left to go on the run.
Yeah, not proud of it, man.
No, Oh, like, we're back on. We're back. We're live. Okay. Well, we're not live, but we're back on. So I'm gonna have to splice these 2 videos together. So sorry, everybody. You didn't miss much because I caught this right as it happened. But yeah, I ran out of space on the computer. What are you gonna do? I don't know anything about this damn thing. So, all right, Frank, do you remember where we were at?
How long were you on a run for?
3. You asked me how long I was up
yes
there for. 3 years.
I asked you okay, what I was saying was in 08 or 09, almost 09, you went on the run and you did leave.
Can't really say on the run. I went up to Canada.
You took a trip up to Canada and decided to stay.
That's
but
and it just so happens I ended up on the most wanted list in 2009 for an indictment that they never served me with because I was hanging out with a stripper that night.
Yep. Have you ever thanked her?
No, but we'll get deeper into the indictment. No.
So
I might have thanked her in a different way than. Yeah.
So I think we were at, the mounted police had received a warrant for you.
Yeah.
But they couldn't come on the res.
They couldn't come on the res. They sent up the warrant to the res police. Res police, they're not going to serve the warrant, yada, yada. long story short, I'm on the res. I'm up there for 3 years. I'm doing my thing. I opened up a Philly cheesesteak stand.
Nice.
Hot dog cart type stand, was making money doing that on the res. Everybody loved them. People still talk about them to this day up there. Like, oh, when are you going to open back up? Anyways, I was making money doing that up there, doing my thing. Res is boring as all hell up there. In the wintertime, there's nothing to do.
I'll tell you, you could make a killing down here with a cheesesteak stand.
Oh, I have plans. I have plans for around here, but I don't want to be in Syracuse for the rest of my life. But this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So I'm up there. End up getting in an argument with one of the res cops' wives up there, who happened to be my biological father. This is, because I started building a slight relationship with my biological father up there because that's where he was from.
Okay.
It was my biological father's girlfriend's daughter.
Okay.
Get in an argument with her. She happens to be married to one of the res cops. One thing led to another. They called down to the U.S. Marshals. They figured out a plan to basically act as bounty hunters. The res police on my res acted as bounty hunters, came to my spot where I was living up there, arrested me, take me off the reserve, take me off the reservation to a small airport just outside of my reservation in a little town right next to my reservation. At that airport were RCMPs, 2 RCMPs.
3 times a charm, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, okay? And we are just starting to get to the nitty-gritty. This ship is about to sail. We are on the reservation. So to recap, and I know that once I splice all this together, there's no need for a recap. But this actually took us about 25 minutes for me to figure out how to erase probably important apps off the computer that my son needed in order for me to have enough storage to continue this interview. So, Mikey, sorry. Okay, so where we're at is we're on the reservation. You got into an argument with your biological father's daughter?
Biological father's girlfriend's daughter.
Girlfriend's daughter. And
her husband is a res cop.
Her husband is a res cop. Okay.
They plot up a whole plan to, at that point I pissed them off.
Yeah.
Pissed plenty of people off in my life, So they decided to call down to the U.S. Marshals. And I'm sure, how much is the reward for Frank Ojic? There's always a reward if you turn in somebody that's wanted from the feds or U.S. Marshals. There's always a reward, even though it's not posted. There's always a reward. So,
okay.
So, anyways, they come up with a whole plan. They contact RCMP, U.S. Marshals. Everybody's working together. So the res cops can't arrest me themselves. U.S. Marshals, or not the U.S. Marshals, but the RCMP can't come on the reservation to make arrest. So the res cops kick down my door. They grab me. They're acting as bounty hunters at this time.
Gotcha.
They're not arresting me on their own warrant, nothing. They're acting as bounty hunters at this time. They bring me to a small airport just outside my reservation. Now, mind you, my reservation's in a small town in the middle of Maniwaki, Quebec, Canada. It's about an hour and a half north of Ottawa. Ottawa's the capital of Canada.
Okay.
But my reservation's on Quebec side. Quebec. But, so they bring me to this little small airport. It's just for small, single engine planes to land. They turn me into the RCMP there. There's, there's, like I said, there's a pilot, and then there's 2 RCMPs. Res cops turn me into them. Okay, now what happens? They put me on this private jet. A private jet. Like I was fucking Pablo Escobar. Literally. Like I'm chained and shackled at this point. They put me on this private jet. And I'm talking, they're talking to me on the plane, and I'm like, I get on this jet. It's like leather seats. It's like literally a private, like luxury
Oh
jet.
yeah, they rented something to come up and get you.
No, they had, it was the Buffalo, it was one of the Buffalo Bills the owner of the Buffalo Bills. It was his old jet. It was his old private jet that he owned, and the RCMP ended up purchasing it, I guess, somewhere along the lines. I don't know. That's what they had told me.
Okay.
So I fly from my reservation to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Now the story is getting ready to take off, just like that jet took off from here.
Gotcha.
Let me. So, I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I get off this private jet. They bring me to the courthouse, which is called the Palais de Justice. French, it's just the palace, Justice Palace, the courthouse, whatever.
Yeah.
I go in front of this judge who actually spoke English, thank God, and he's like, Monsieur Ojic, Mr. Ojic, just so you know, you're not here because you have any criminal charges in Canada. You are here. You are not being arrested for any criminal. He made this clear 3 times. He said this. Just so you know, you are not being arrested for any criminal charges in Canada. You are here to be held on extradition to the U.S. for charges with the U.S. Marshals. I said, okay, you're going to be held at Riviere des Prairies Detention Center until you are shipped down to the U.S. and transferred down for extradition. Okay. I go to this jail, middle of Montreal. It was a lot of like Bloods and Crips and a lot of like biker Hell's Angels stuff. Now in Montreal, the Hell's Angels, they run a lot. They run like, they're big up there, but they're not like the Hell's Angels that you think of, like the dirty biker, chap wearing,
Yeah.
biker. They're like suit and tie Italian mafioso type Hell's Angels.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they run all that stuff in Montreal. But so I'm in this jail. They don't tell you when you're getting picked up. It's the one thing with federal cases that people got to understand is they don't tell you anything. They don't tell when you're going to get picked up. You don't know. So at this point, I'm caught. I'm like, all right, I'm caught. I don't know how much time I'm facing. I don't know exactly what they have on me or the amount they have on me. I won't get any of that. I have talked to my lawyer. My lawyer said, I won't know anything and be able to get to the case until you're on the U.S. side, and then I'll be able to get the discovery. That's basically all the evidence. It's called the discovery for federal.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, so I don't know what they got on me. He doesn't know what they got on me because he's not able to get anything until I'm turned into the, and I'm booked in down here in front of a federal judge. So I'm up there for 6 months. 6 months. Finally, and the jail up there, let's just say there was a lot of like drugs coming in and out of there. And I got put in this unit. And in the unit, there's a president, a vice president. These are just inmates. So in the units, there's a president, a vice president, and committee members.
Wow.
And there's usually 5 committee members. So the committee members do all the work for the president and vice president.
All inmates.
All inmates.
Yeah.
They're all inmates. They have guards, but the guards don't come up in there. The guards only come up in there if there's obviously fights or to do their rounds when you're already locked in. So the guards, there's no guards inside there with you. Like they're literally on the outside looking in through windows and shit.
Gotcha.
So I'm in this cell, and I come in and, I'm native, I used my native card up there big time, and a lot of people up there knew my last name, Ojic, because everybody in Canada is hockey fans, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've never been a hockey fan, anything like that. But I have this one cousin that used to play for the Vancouver Canucks professional hockey. He passed away. But his name was Gino Ojic. So everybody knew Gino. Everybody knew him. He was a big-time scrapper, big-time goon. So, everybody's like, oh, yeah, your last name's Ojic, Gino Ojic. So immediately, I'm like, yeah, that's one of my cousins, blah, blah, blah. He's like 3rd cousin or something like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
But, so anyways, everybody got along with me, obviously, because of that. And I'm in there, and there was a lot of shit that happened.
And you're a big guy.
That's another thing I'm getting to. As soon as I got in there, they asked me to be a committee member because I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
And each committee member, they kind of picked committee members. How it worked is they picked like a person that was like African American, like somebody that was black. They picked somebody that was white, somebody that was Hispanic. Because what the committee members do is they go like once somebody comes in, if it's a Native American dude that came in, or I was that committee member, or if it was a black dude that came in, they would send a black dude to come talk to the person.
Yeah.
You'd get to know them. You give them a little package to help them out. Do you need anything? Do you need this and this? You're giving them the basics first.
Yeah.
But a lot of people there were bringing in like drugs, a lot of hash, a lot of weed, and a lot of stuff like that. A lot of people that got arrested, they knew they were going to jail. They would basically boof it. Boofing it is like wrapping it in saran wrap and right up your butt.
Yeah.
And the rule was it was the president, vice president's rule, is if you're bringing anything in there, you have permission to sell it, and do what you want with it to make your money or make your commissary to get food or whatever, trade this for that or whatever. But you have to give a quarter of it up to the vice president and president. And then they split a little bit with the committee members, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, I was in charge of talking to the native guys when they came in there, because you're kind of shaking them down like, all right, did you bring anything in it? If you find out that they brought something in and they didn't tell you, and this happened a few times, there was issues.
So
a lot of issues happened like that a couple times, a few times while I was there. Anyways, and at that time I was a pot smoker, so let's just say I was stoned every day, smoking hash every day. I mean, there was always and I never had to pay for it. It's just because committee members and all that. So one thing led to another. They would come in and do shakedowns in the cell block. A lot of like the president and vice presidents they would always change hands because this person went on to this jail to do their actual real time, because the jail I was in was actually just like kind of like the Justice Center jail down here. You're only there until you get sentenced, so you're there for however long your court case goes on for, and then you move on to where you're going to do your time. So a lot of people like moved on, presidents, vice presidents. So it came time towards the end, like the last month I was there, I ended up moving up the ranks, and I ended up being the vice president. Just kind of landed on me.
Wow. In 6 months.
Well,
less.
A lot of people came and went. So I was the vice president of the unit up there. Saw a lot of shit happen. I could tell you right now that I never ordered anything to happen. I didn't want to get gripped into like that. There was a lot of crazy shit that a lot of the old presidents did. So in that month, luckily I didn't order any shit to happen. You know what I mean? I didn't want to get that indulged.
Yeah.
I was happy when they called my name. I was like, "Ojik, pack your bags." You know what I mean? Because then I knew I was coming back. I knew I was coming back to the U.S. and I knew I was like getting out of that prison. It was rough. Like I said, there was a lot. They kept the Bloods and the Crips separated. There was a lot of fights, man. There was a lot of shit. You know what I mean? I got into shit a couple times. It was rough. The guy in the cell next to me, I don't know what happened. He came in there with the wrong kind of charges that you don't want to be in jail for. And
yeah,
he basically didn't make it out. I had nothing to do with that. I heard it going on in the middle of the night, and I was just like, hear no evil, see no evil.
Yeah.
I heard the boom, 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 the screaming, all that. And again, the guards didn't come in there. They only came in at certain times to do their rounds when everybody was already locked in their cells that night or doing count during the day. That you would go in your cell for 20 minutes. They did count. You get let out. Anyways, it was crazy. That was the roughest prison. So anyways, they tell me to pack that was the roughest prison I was in out of all of them. They tell me to pack my bags. I'm happy. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going down to the U.S. I'm finally going to face this.
Yeah.
But again, they don't tell you where you're going. You don't know where you're going. You don't know when you're going. I didn't know that I was going to be told to pack my bags 6 months after getting to this place. You know what I mean? So they bring me down to the border. The RCMP do. They turn me into the U.S. Marshals at the border. U.S. Marshals at the border. We didn't come all the way down yet. They put me. I can't remember what jail it was. It was kind of up by the border. I can't remember exactly what it was called. But I sat there. I got there on a Thursday and was there again. And again, I'm sitting there. They don't tell you when you're going to leave again or when you're going to get transported or whatever, what's going on. So I was there from Thursday till Monday. On Monday, I got told to pack my bags again, getting transported somewhere else now. You do a lot of transporting around with federal cases until you get into the jurisdiction of where you're going to see the federal judge at. There's certain, I was in the Northeast, the northern, blah, blah, blah. So get in the shackled into the transport again. Here we are, we're coming down, and I start seeing like signs for Syracuse, and I'm like, okay, going to Syracuse. So I'm like, probably going downtown Syracuse Justice Center. Nope, we passed the downtown exit. I'm like, where the hell am I going? We hit 481 right there, and I see the Jamesville exit. They get off at Jamesville. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to the Jamesville Jail, Onondaga County Correctional Facility, Jamesville Jail.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I go to Jamesville Jail. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to Jamesville Jail. I'm already in Jamesville Jail. You know why I'm already in Jamesville Jail? My stepsister, remember I got a stepbrother and stepsister. My stepsister at the time dated this guy whose brother is one of the lieutenants at Jamesville Jail.
Gotcha.
Another one of my buddies works for the commissary company, where you order your snacks from. He works for the company that, does the commissary. And my other buddy was a correctional officer up there, and he worked the visiting room.
Gotcha.
So I knew these people that worked there, so I knew, okay, I got a little ins. So I'm in there. Of course, I got hooked up with the commissary here and there. I would order like, this much money, this much worth of stuff, and end up with some extra stuff in it every time I ordered, Thanks to my buddy, of course. I won't name no names. And my other buddy worked up there, and whenever I got him and he brought me in the room, I never had to strip down or strip out for visits. He never, just stuff like that, little stuff like that. He was like, he told me, Frank, I know you personally because I really don't want to see your balls. He's like, we'll just hang out in here for a little while and talk for a second. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it was.
Well, little things like that make you still feel human.
Yeah. So, and then again, I was there for 6 months again, and then my sentencing date. By that time, my lawyer had got my case, obviously.
Yeah.
And the way federal prison works, it's a lot different than state prison. And I'm glad I didn't have a state charge because I would have did a lot more time than I'm doing now. So the way federal prison works is they go by a sentencing guideline. It's a chart. They go by your prior criminal history, what your charge is, and how, like for the weed charge, they look at how much. So my charge was conspiracy to possess with intent to sell marijuana. They look at the federal system looks at marijuana as a class, whatever controlled substance, which actually just got dropped down to a lower class. Trump just did that recently, I guess. He dropped it down to a lower class. It's still a felony, but it's a lower class controlled substance now. It went from like a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 or whatever it is. I don't know. It's just lower now on the totem pole. So it's no longer looked at as like the same as like methamphetamines and stuff like that because it was literally classified as the same. So the amount they actually had on me, and that was during the federal investigation, was like 300 to 400 pounds. Okay, and that was just the amount from the one guy wearing the wire that I was dealing with for him.
Yeah.
That was just the one guy, Obviously, I had multiple people, clients, before, but
yeah.
So my lawyer's like, look, you're looking at this. You're looking at, your sentencing guideline. I didn't really have any priors, like little bullshit, misdemeanor bullshit here and there. I didn't really have any prior, like, criminal record. So they went by your prior criminal record. They went by what you were caught with. And, I had no violence on my record. So you're looking at, this much time, yada, yada. And when they sentence you by months. Federal does. State does years. Federal does months. So he's like, you're looking at, he goes, you're looking at 24 to 26 months. I said, oh, okay. And he goes, they can't go any higher than that. He goes, but the judge can go lower, like below that if he wants.
Gotcha.
He goes, the judge you're going in to see, I forget the judge's name. I got it written down on my paperwork. I got a whole folder with all the paperwork. He goes, but the judge you're going in to see right now, he goes, he's really lenient on marijuana charges. he hates like crack charges, cocaine charges, heroin charges. He goes, but he's lenient on marijuana charges. He's, you know, yada yada. So, anyways, so the most you're going to possibly do is 26 months. That's 2 years and some change, right?
Yeah.
Slightly over 2. I'm like, okay, cool. So I I was up in Canada for 3 years to do only possibly 2 years and 2 months. But again, I didn't know what they had on me, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know what the amount was. I didn't know how at the time, I didn't know the federal system worked the way it did. I'm thinking like state charge, I'm going to do at least 10 years in state prison. Hell no, I'm out.
Yeah. You know? Oh, yeah.
So I get sentenced on December 18th, 2012. It was December 18th, 2012, because I got caught in February of 2012 up there when they turned me in. So my sentencing date was December 18th. And then the judge ended up saying, he ended up giving me time served for the 6 months I was in Montreal, the 5 months I was in Janesville. And he said, I'm going to sentence you to 18 months in the BOP. That's the Bureau of Prison, Federal Bureau of Prison. And he goes, I'm going to give you 3 years post-supervised release, which is basically probation afterwards, 3 years.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you time served for the 6 months you were in Montreal prison and the 5 months you were awaiting sentencing in Janesville as well. So I had 11 months already done out of the 18 months. Now, wow. with state prison, if you don't act up in jail and stuff like that, you get out 2/3 of your time. You only got to do 2/3 of your time and you get out. If you're not in there acting up, causing fights, doing all this shit. But that's state prison. But with federal prison, you do almost all your time. So with federal prison, I still had to do 16 of the 18 months. So I got 11 months in. Only had 4 months to go. Mind you, I still did my time. I still did time in Montreal and I still did time in Janesville.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I get sentenced. I'm like, okay. 18 months, 3 years. I'm like, okay, gave me time served. I'm like, damn, okay. Cool. All right. I'm gonna be free soon. Like, this is
yeah.
Let's go do this standing on my head now. Let's go. I'm going to federal. I have no violence on my record, so I'm gonna go to one of them federal camps where there's no fences, no nothing. Club Fed, they call it.
Really?
When you have no violence on your record and your charges aren't to do with violence and your criminal record, most people do it in club, like in a minimal security federal prison, which has no fence on it, no fence around it. You go into a pond and feeding ducks if you want, type shit. That's on the grounds. It just depends on where you're going. But that's what I thought. So December 18th comes, I get sentenced, I go back to the Janesville. They don't tell you when you're going to get shipped out again. Feds don't tell you when, nothing, because the reason why they don't tell you any of it, because they don't want anybody trying to ambush the bus and get you off there like you're some big time guy that has connections or something,
Yeah.
So they don't want you to have a prison breakout type thing. So New Year's Eve, 2012. Ojic, pack your bags. It's fucking New Year's Eve. All right, I'm packing my bags. Christmas in prison sucks, by the way.
I'm sure.
But it sucks. But so I packed my bags, put me on a bus. Now I knew at this point kind of what was going on because I had talked to another inmate that was in there for a federal charge because he violated his post-supervised release. So he was back in there going to do the rest of his time because he violated his federal post-supervised release. And he told me how it worked. He told me, he goes, you're going to go to Brooklyn, the same place where Diddy was, NBC Brooklyn or something like that. And that's the processing center. You're going to get processed there and you'll probably be there for like a week or so. And then you're going to go to whatever jail they designate you to, and you're going to get transferred out. He goes, but you're not going to go from Syracuse to Brooklyn. He goes, you're going to Brooklyn straight through. He goes, you're going to make a stop in between and stay at one of the jails in between. He goes, it could be any jail. Sure enough, I got on that bus. We pulled off in Albany on our way to New York City. We pulled off to Albany. I'm in Albany.
Third time is not a charm. We're in Albany. We're getting transferred down to Brooklyn. Let's keep going, Frank. I don't know how much time we got.
Bus pulls up to Albany. I'm in Albany County Jail.
All right.
Don't know how long I'm going to be there. Feds don't like to tell you anything, like I said. I think I was there for like 12 days. 12 days this time. Finally, the bus comes. Oh, chick, pack your bags. Tired of hearing that shit.
I'm sure.
So at this point, it's, I don't know. Can't even remember how many days past New Year's Eve now. But now we're well into January.
Yeah.
You know. Pulling to Albany County Jail. 12 days later, put me on the bus. Start pulling up to New York City. And mind you, the transport buses, they come at like 1 a.m. So you're half asleep. They're waking you up, telling you pack your bags. You're on this bus. You're cramped in there in this little cage next to this other guy. And you're like, you're tired. So you guys are literally forced to just lean on each other. You know?
Yeah.
So,
exhausted.
Homosexual stuff, but hey, man, you gotta do what you gotta do to get comfortable. Chained and shackled, in this little cage on this bus. It's not fun, So we pull up to New York City. By the time we get to New York City, it's like just getting daylight. I'm like, where are we going in New York City? I didn't know what this place looked like in Brooklyn, and we're by like the river. I look over and there's the Statue of Liberty. And I'm looking at the Statue of Liberty, and I'm like, man, that lady stands for freedom. And look at me right now. And, far from free, and it was like, that's where it like really hit me. Like, man, I'm in here, and I know I don't have much time to go, but whatever. So we get into Brooklyn. They're unloading the bus. They put us all in this holding cell, glass window holding cell. We see another like transport van come in with like 3 inmates. This one inmate, apparently he had just got sentenced for a federal murder or whatever. And he just got sentenced big time years. He decides to, mind you, I'm there 5 minutes in this holding cell, He decides they take the cuffs off him to put in the holding cell. He decides to turn around and punch the guard as hard as he can. It was the holding cell next to us. Man, they beat the piss out of this guy. The tear gas and the mace cans that are this big, and they just got like the spraying nozzles on them.
Yeah.
That the cops use. They must have emptied 3 cans on this dude. Just beating the shit out of him, macing him, doing everything they could. Now, at this point, they unloaded so much mace, we're choking. All of us that got unloaded off the bus, we're choking in the holding cell now. We're all coughing, feeling it, breathing it in now.
Yeah.
They drag him out, and he was literally lifeless. I don't know if he was alive or dead, but they drag him out, and his feet are just dragging right with him. They're like literally dragging him. I'm like, I don't know if he was down. I don't know. You don't mess with them. You don't mess with the guards.
Yeah. No.
He punched that guard. And so they had to move us to a part of the jail because that area was all just, maced, everywhere. They just smell it in the air. So they had to move us to a part of the jail that was being renovated. So they move us there. So we're in there. Time goes by. Everybody's getting processed. Everybody's name's getting called, and they're going upstairs. I'm tired at this point. We left in the middle of the night, wee hours of the morning, got there, just started getting daylight. I'm in this holding cell. Hours and hours go by. I see every inmate that got off the bus go upstairs. I'm the last one in the holding cell. I'm like, man, I'm tired. Why am I the last one?
You thought your name was Zariski or something.
So, no. So everybody goes upstairs. They're processed. They go upstairs. They're going to be upstairs for a little while. They're going to be upstairs for like a week, and then they're going to get transported to whatever jail that they're assigned to do their actual time.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going to happen with me. That's what should have happened with me. I was kind of excited to kind of be there because, you know, the one guy that did the federal prison time, he goes, hey, when you order commissary, he goes, you're going to want to order a few things from Brooklyn because they'll send it with you to wherever you're going to do your time. He goes, they don't have Doritos at all the other federal facilities, so order some there. Pringles. He was naming a couple things, and I was going to order it when I got upstairs just to have it, so I brought it to the other prisons because it was a bunch of crap that I liked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So next, you know, they start bringing people from upstairs, putting them in the cell with me that are getting ready to get transported, that had been there, that are getting ready to get transported to do their time in facilities. That they, you know, that, and I'm like, why am I still here?
Yeah.
So it starts getting filled up. And the guy's like, you better knock, you know, and I start telling the dude what was going on. I came down. He's like, you might want to knock and ask him what's going on. So I knock on the door. I'm like, Dep, like, what's going on? What's your last name? I'm like, Ojik. He goes, oh, Ojik, your transport's coming tonight. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, you're going to Moshannon Valley. This is the only time they ever told me where I was going out of my whole trip. He goes, yeah, you're going to Moshannon Valley. So I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know where the hell Moshannon Valley is.
Yeah.
So the one guy that's in the cell, he goes, Moshannon Valley. He goes, you know what Moshannon Valley is, right? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, it's in Pennsylvania. He goes, it's a place where it's an immigration facility. He goes, you go there, do your time that you're sentenced, and then you go with ICE, and ICE deports you, puts you on a plane after 2 or 3 days. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, where were you born? I'm like, well, I was born in Canada. He goes, yeah, but I was like, but I'm Native American. I'm like, I'm a half Native American, so I can't be deported. I'm allowed to live in the U.S. without a green card, anything I want. I can't be deported. And that is true under Section 289 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. But the feds don't care. As soon as they see you're born in another country, they want to see that proof themselves. So I knock on the door. I'm like, why am I going to Moshannon Valley? He's like, oh, you know, the gentleman on the bus, before you get on, you're going to do an interview with him, blah, blah, blah. So I get out, I'm getting ready to get on the bus. I tell the guy, I'm like, I'm Native American. He goes, well, I see on your paperwork it says Native American. He goes, you're born in Canada. He goes, but when you get to the facility down there, you're going to talk to a counselor down there. There's counselors that talk to you when you go in there, and you gotta let them know your situation. You're going to have to prove that you're, 50% Native American and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. So here I am going to this immigration facility. Now, this immigration facility was a low security, not a minimum. It wasn't the Club Fed like I was not dreaming to go to, but hoping I would go to out of all prisons.
Yeah.
So it's a low security. Low security for federal is like one fence with barbed wire around it. It's not like, it's still low, but it was an immigration facility. There was people there from Canada, Jamaica, Australia, all different countries that had broke the law in the U.S. and they had to do, because when you break the law in the U.S., you don't just get deported. You still got to do your time, and then you get deported after.
Gotcha.
So I see the counselor. Counselor's like, okay, here's what you got to do in your situation. He goes, you got to get a hold of somebody on the outside. They got to fax all your proof over to this phone number, and it takes 3 months to clear. I said, okay, it takes 3 months to clear. Now, mind you, I'm 12 months in already. I only have to do 4 more months. 3 months to clear. So anyways, it clears. I get a letter back saying inmate Ojik is a registered Native American from Canada. He is not a subject to deportation. They can't deport me, basically. Native Americans who are born in Canada with 50% blood quantum, which means they're at least half or up, have the right to travel freely throughout North America. I'm allowed to cross the border even with a felony conviction. People with green cards, if they break the law, they lose their green card and they're not allowed back into the country. Native Americans, my Native American status trumps that.
I got you.
So
interesting.
This is an actual
That's
law.
Interesting.
If people look into it, it's Section 289 of the INA, and it's under the J Treaty rights. So that you can't be deported by any means, and you have a right to roam free. You're basically looked at as lawfully admitted for permanent residence.
Gotcha.
But we have a higher thing. We can't be deported for criminal activity. So anyways, I get cleared. They're like, all right, Mr. Ojik, well, here's the situation. You got 30 days to go. So technically by law, we have to put you on the bus to send you to that minimal security prison that you were supposed to go to. He goes, but the problem is the bus just came last week and it's not coming for another 2 weeks. Another 2 weeks, then I'll have only 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so what happens now? They go, well, you have a decision to make. I'm like, what do you mean? Because, well, you could either, A, go on that bus in 2 weeks, and then once you get to that minimal security prison, you won't even have time to like settle in because you only got 2 weeks. Or B, you will be the first person in the history of Moshannon Valley Correctional Center to walk out the front door and get released from here. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, you got to remember, this is an immigration facility where people have done their time here,
and then they get deported.
And then they go with ICE, and ICE brings them to a different ICE facility for 2 or 3 days, and then they get put on the next available plane and back to their country. Nobody ever has walked out the front door free from here. It goes, it's such a new process we've never done. We don't even know what door we're going to let you out. So I'm like, okay. He goes, so basically you'd be making history in this prison. And I'm like, oh, what a way to make history, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, so of course I chose to, might as well just stay. I had a month to go, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to change places and risk being even further down south in some, who knows what federal prison they're going to put me in. That's a camp. You know, I could have been further away or closer. So I was in Moshannon Valley Correctional Facilities, middle of like nowhere. And the prison is built on top of an old coal mine. Like literally, like, yeah. So anyways, my release date, I get out, and my girlfriend, whom I met while I was in Canada, I was with her for only about a year when all this went downhill and it crumbled, and she stood there for me the entire time I was locked up. You know, the 18 months, 16 months, whatever.
Yeah.
So they basically, I got out this door and there's this big gate. It was the gate where the bus comes in. It opens up. There's my girlfriend's car. And then there's a gate behind her that's closed. So I get in the girlfriend's car. That opens up. I'm driving back. I'm out of here. But they gave me a choice. They said, you still got 3 months post-supervised release. Or 3 years post-supervised release. Sorry, 3 years. They were like, you got a choice. They were like, you can go back to Canada. They were like, you could stay in the U.S. and do it here in the U.S., or you can go back to Canada and do it in Canada. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? They go, if you stay in the U.S., you're on full-fledged federal supervised release where you got to report to a federal probation officer every week.
Yeah.
Like go down and report to them. Got to hold a job. You can't get in trouble and yada, yada. Or B, you can do it in Canada and you'll be on something that's basically called unsupervised post-supervised release. And I'm like, well, what's that? They were like, well, you'll still have a federal probation officer down here in the U.S. He goes, but you don't have to go down and report to him every week. You're in Canada. We're not in charge of you if you don't have a job. If you're to catch a criminal charge in Canada, it's not a U.S. charge. That's a Canadian charge. So it's not going to, like, basically don't get in trouble. But if you get in trouble up there, it doesn't affect your supervised release down here. So I did my post-supervised release up there. I did it 3 years.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still away from my kids, but I was coming down every weekend, like every weekend, every other weekend. Remember, I was still able to cross back and forth to that border, even though I have criminal charges. Now, mind you, of course, because I was convicted of a marijuana charge, me and my girlfriend, we were getting pulled in every week. The car was getting searched. That went on for a good year and a half. And then they just kind of lightened up on me. They realized, okay, this guy's not coming down with nothing. And, you know, so to this day, I spoke to the federal probation officer because I used to have to let him know when I was coming down. Like, hey, I'm going to stay at my mom's, you know, while I'm down there, coming down to visit my kid. He's like, all right, I just need to know where you're staying in case I want to send one of the officers over from the Syracuse office to check on you. 3 years went by. He never sent anybody to check on me. I still don't know what he looks like. I've never seen him.
Really?
Last day comes. He's like, well, you're good to go, man. You're free. You did good. And, you know, you stand up guy in my eyes, blah, blah, blah. So happy to see my kids.
So when you were finished, did you immediately move back to Syracuse?
No. When I was finished, I'm getting into that right now. So when I was finished, my oldest son, Cameron, the one that has special needs, his mom, I get a Facebook message from this girl who used to be friends with his mom, telling me, "Hey, have you heard anything about Cameron and Christina is my son's mom's name? Cameron and Christina's other kids possibly getting taken away from by CPS, Child Protective Services, or something like that." And I'm like, "No, why?" They're like, "You might want to, call and find out." So I'm like, "Okay." Like, I didn't know what was going on. She filled me in of somewhere along the line. My son's mom, heroin addict, got hooked on heroin while I was gone. Sometime after 2009, when it all happened, she got hooked on heroin. So I call CPS myself. The lady, they passed me through to the lady and she's like, "Frank, I've been looking for you." I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "We're going to get your son in 2 more days. Right now, he's at like an emergency family's place, but we were going to get him in 2 more days and place him into like foster care." Now, mind you, he has autism, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
you're like, "Here's what's gonna happen." She's like, "How quick can you get down there?" I was like, "It takes me 5 hours to drive down there. I'm leaving right now." She's like, "All right,
yeah,
here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna go to where he's at right now. He's gonna come with you. They can't argue with it. And then he goes, in the morning, you're going to see a judge. He's going to probably give you temporary guardianship. And then you're going to come back at another court date, probably in a month or so, and you're going to get permanent guardianship." And just that happened. Like, I came down, I ended up getting temporary guardianship, and then I got permanent guardianship a month later. And basically, the judge knew I had a criminal record. That doesn't matter. I'm still his father. I'm sorry, I say guardianship. It was custody.
custody. Okay.
At the time, he wasn't 18. When he turned 18, I had to get guardianship because he was looked at as an adult, but he had special needs. Sorry, custody. So I ended up, temporary custody and then permanent custody. Sorry,
Gotcha.
I said that wrong. So, yeah, man, like, I'm getting custody of my son as a felon, a federal felon, while still on federal supervised release. And I was still living in Canada. I was working as a chef, like a cook at the old folks home up on my res. And I brought my son up there to live with me. And the judge was like, "Well, the only issue," he goes, "you're going to get custody. The criminal record under that matters." He goes, "But you're living in Canada. How's your son going to get in Canada?" And I pulled out my son's Native American card. Showed it to him. He goes, "No need to show me." He goes, "I know all about it." He goes, "Enjoy your time with your son, Mr. Ochi." Packed my son up. It was the middle of winter when all this happened. Packed all his stuff up, moved him up to Canada with me. Now, mind you, I had already known, this was in the middle of winter. I'd already known that I was going to move back as soon as I was done with my 3 years federal supervised release. I was going to move back to the U.S. because I wanted to come back and be with my kids, so I don't have to come back and forth every weekend.
Yeah.
So that ended up ending in like May, and we were back down here in June.
Okay.
And I got him into all the good programs down here for his special needs and stuff like that. But now mind you, at this point I was doing good. I hadn't been in trouble. My head was out of my ass. I appreciated all the little things because, when you're in jail, you start, just, you lose touch of all the little things, like just getting out of jail and actually like touching grass. Like, it just being able to turn on a faucet. My biggest thing was when I got out of prison, I kept turning on the water. Like like when I go wash my hands at the sink, I would turn on the water and I'd walk away and forget to turn the water off. Because I was in prison so long, they're just push button things. And when you just walk away, they turn off. So my girl was like, "You left the water on again. You left the water." Sorry. Like, but, got custody of my son with all them aspects. And there's a lot of people out here that have been in my situation or been like criminals and done crimes, and they either, one, don't think it's possible to do something like I did, like get custody of their kid, or they just don't try,
or just I was gonna say
or
fight
they
fight
just
for
go
their
back,
kid, you know.
or they just go back into doing what the hell they did. Trust me, I could have simply got out of prison, went back to doing what I was doing, and picked up where I was left off, and started making all that dirty money again. The connections were still there. They never, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'm never doing it again. The worst thing was being away from my kids. That was the worst thing, and being away from my parents who were elderly.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason, Mike. Everything happens for a reason, and I call bullshit for anybody that says, "Oh no, like I can't get custody of my kid because I got a criminal record." It's bullshit. You can do it, man. You just gotta want to do it. I had to go out and get a certificate of good conduct from New York State. Basically saying, he's been good for this many years since he's been out of prison, yada yada, and that allowed me to get the guardianship I'm talking about. That allowed me to get the guardianship, because when I went for guardianship, they gave me temporary guardianship, and they gave me a year temporary guardianship, and they gave me a year to get that certificate of good conduct. I had that done and in my hands in like 2.5 months.
Wow.
So as soon as I got it, I went back to the courts. They said, boom, permanent guardianship for you. So now I got my son. He's, going to be 25 years old this Wednesday. Unfortunately, he's got a cancer diagnosis.
Was that recent?
It's probably,
because I didn't know about that. You said that earlier today. I had no idea.
Right around COVID, and he has a type of he has like a T-cell lymphoma type of cancer, and it right now it mainly affects his skin. It's called mycosis fungoides, the type he has, and it's so early on. He's in stage 1A, which is the very beginning of any type of cancer. And since he's in such early stage and at his age and where his spots are, that his oncologist is very, very positive and very assuring that he's going to still live his normal lifespan to be older.
Okay.
Not to say he's not going to have more complications when he gets older, because right now it's only affecting his skin. Later on in life, it could start attacking organs, things like that. But I deal with the today, and I don't want to think forward until what's going to happen in 10, 15 years. Because that'll drive me nuts, and I'll just break down. I'll have a nervous breakdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
So when I got my son, his mother, her addiction, my son was supposed to be on meds. He was regressing in school, regressing instead of progressing. He should have been progressing, but his mother was taking his meds and selling them and trading them for her drug of choice, obviously, because my son takes Adderall to focus. And Adderall is compared to like methamphetamine, basically, is what it is. But when it's somebody that needs it evens out the chemical imbalance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With him, he's not like he doesn't get all hyper on it or anything. It just evens them out.
Yeah.
But she was trading them for her drug of choice, obviously, and he was regressing, and she was allowing it. And then when I got him, even in school, they were like, yeah, he's, when I got custody of him, he was like throwing himself on the ground, self-hitting, all that stuff, wetting the bed, there was a lot of trust issue. I had to gain his trust. There was so many broken promises from his mother's end that he thought everything I was telling him was just going to be bullshit, and it was just going to be a broken promise. So I had to gain his trust. And to this day, you could ask him right now, has your dad ever broke a promise? And he's going to tell you never. Everything I've said and done, we've done. And you see it. You see our little journey on Facebook with the places we do. He's a happy dude doing his thing. He's got many talents. He's got many, many talents. His memory's off the charts. He just blew up. He actually has a job here in Syracuse working at the zoo.
What's he do there?
He's actually a catering assistant. He works with the chefs.
Nice.
So here's an interesting story. Growing up, he always wanted to be either a zookeeper or a chef.
Wow. Best of both worlds, huh?
So now he's working at the zoo with the chefs.
That's wild.
He's got his dream job. In my eyes, it's his dream job. You know what I mean? You put them both together and he's there, and everybody knows him. He's special needs. He's like a little celebrity at the zoo. Everybody knows him up there.
Yeah.
He gets to do whatever up there. And he's a hard worker, man. He has a little job coach that we hire through a little agency, one of the, Advocates of CNY, or no, Access CNY is one of the agencies. They got a job coach that sits there and works with him for 2 hours out of the day, out of his 4-hour day. And he gets paid minimum wage, but he's making a little money. You know, he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
enjoying it.
That's great.
And that's it, man. I mean, honestly, there's so much more I can tell you about. There's so much more I can do, but I know, this video has been like in and out for us.
Well, not just in and out, but I can't put out. I don't want to put out 4 hours. There's always time for a part 2, and the great thing is I will get comments. I will get comments and questions, which will obviously bring up another episode. Because what I like is when you get that life story out there, people hear it and then they have questions about it. And then, when we do talk again, there's not that big, it's almost like, there's just not that there's no story to tell. We can just immediately have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then we can get into anything we want, because, this one was obviously about you, but there's other aspects out there and topics where
100%, 100%, so much more. I mean, I just want to touch on where I said everything happens for a reason, because everything does happen for a reason. You know that. As an adult now, we all know that everything happens for a reason, right?
100%.
We all know that. I find, a big change around for me in my life was like I got out, and it was like going back to getting in an argument with my dad's girlfriend's daughter. That was meant to be. Because yes, they probably were like trying to get me in much trouble as possible, thinking I was going to do however many years in jail. But that negative and the other negatives just turned into one big positive. It was meant to be, and it had to happen. And I'm so glad it happened. So at the time, I didn't see it. Afterwards, I saw it. But at the time, I was like, oh, F them, blah, blah, blah. I hate them for doing this, blah, blah, blah. But no, man, it was the best thing they could have ever done. It was the best thing that happened out of the whole situation, because had it not happened, I would still be up there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be with my kids. Wouldn't have been able to see my stepfather before he passed away. Wouldn't have been able to take care of my mother for 8 years when she got dementia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, man. And a negative times a negative equals a positive.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ever got to talk to anybody about that, taking care of your mom, if you're ever up at camp, you just go ahead and talk to my mom, because she dealt with it with both parents.
Trust me.
So, and like, it was one after another.
At one point, I was doing triple duty. My father, my stepdad passed away, 4.5 years ago. He died of lung fibrosis. He was in the final stages of lung fibrosis. Didn't even know he had the earlier stages. He just went right from, boom, brought him in.
Oh.
So I was dealing with getting my son's diagnosis. What's going on? What's going on with his skin? What's going on? We were in the middle of getting my son's cancer diagnosis. So I was living at specialists, between living in doctor's offices, not even for me. This was for my son, my stepdad, and my mom. So my son, my dad, and my mom. So here we are, specialist nonstop for my son, specialist for my dad when we found out he had lung fibrosis. My mom's dementia, bringing her to all her doctor's appointments, all the specialists, all that stuff, in and out of the hospital. Dude, that was me. Got my son's diagnosis. Okay, we can relax now. Now we know what it is. Now we'll just deal with the day-to-day. Okay. Stepfather passes away. Okay, now we got to concentrate on mom. When my stepfather passed away, my brother Vince, that's when I got help. That's when my brother Vince was like, all right, man, like, mom's gone, or stepdad's gone. Now we're going to take turns taking care of her. So he did 1 week, I did 1 week. So we did week on, week off. Gotcha. She still wanted to she had dementia, but she still wanted to keep the camp. We were still going up to Brennan's.
Yeah.
32 years of Brennan's, you know what I mean? We just finally sold that in 2024. right
Wow.
at the end of the season. So she passed in August of 2024. So we finally sold that right at the end of the season. So, took care of her right up to the day she died. And I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, man. And that was big eye opener. And now it's just,
Well,
my
like you
brother.
said, it's yeah, I totally believe in that. And not to compare to prison, but there's a similarity in what I do once a year, this camping trip that's coming up. I like when it's difficult, when we go there and you're setting up a hammock in 16-degree weather for 4 days. The nights are freezing. You're limited on food. And yeah, we're having a good time, but 4 days of that is rough. And when you come home, the littlest things are the best. Like coming home and putting a sheet over you in bed.
Feels the
I'm
best,
telling,
right?
it is the best.
Feels the
And
best.
and you just appreciate everything in your house. I'm not comparing it to prison. I'm just comparing it to, it's not just a getaway like fun. It's a survival struggle that we put ourselves through to kind of set ourselves up for the year, where you do appreciate that hot shower, or
That
the
that
bed.
fluffy pillow.
Yeah, that fluffy pillow, or a microwave, or not having to chop the head off of your fish before you cook it, like it, uh, and having more than just it feels good to come home and really appreciate what I have. And
It's all the little things, Mike. The little
yeah,
things the little things that you neglect. Like you really overlook them. You neglect them. You don't really think nothing of them. But like I said, the prison time, you get out and you're like, man, just these little things. Like, holy crap! I never appreciated them before. Never appreciated them before prison, and now it's like the littlest things. Like
yeah,
you appreciate, like totally, and it just changes your outlook. The shit I've seen while I was in prison,
I'm sure.
the shit I dealt with, and I got out and I said never to fuck again, Mike. And sticking to my guns, I said I'm not leaving my kids no more. I'm not. I can't do it. Look what would have happened. I wouldn't have been around for any of that, and I would have honestly, had I still been on the run, and I got all this bad news while I was up there. Who knows where my son would have been? My oldest boy. Who knows where he would have been? He would still be living with his drug addicted mom. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother story, which was a nightmare. He was living a nightmare. It was a trap house, basically. He was, horrible situation he was put in. He saw and experienced stuff that adults don't even experience.
Yeah,
Some adults don't even experience. It's a whole nightmare. But
that's
my stepdad passed away, then my mom passed away. Had this all not happened how it had, how it did, I would have got all this news while I was up there, and I probably wouldn't be here today. Let's just put it that way. I would have probably just put a gun to my head and ended it all. Because at that point, I would have had nothing to live for, and yeah, I could have turned myself in. But at that point, it's like, what do I turn myself in for? But then, I got to think, yes, I do have kids. So, yes, I do have something to live for.
yeah,
But there was a point I was on, I was up there and I was like, well, I'm never going to see my kids again. And of course, the thought crossed my mind of like, what? Do I even have the will to live and do this? This was before any of the bad stuff even happened. Mom passing away, my son, finding out my son's mom was a drug addict and he needs my help. The thought crossed my head. Of course, it crosses your head,
yeah,
your mind, like as a thought, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do it.
yeah. Well, yeah, you can't get to high points without reaching low points.
And basically, like what I just said just there, I've never mentioned to anybody. I just pretty much said it to whoever's gonna watch this, and you, like I said, like I had that all happened and I was still up there, I would have definitely just took my own life.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. I probably would have. And and I was just, I don't know.
Well, I think, you know, and like I said, this all boils down to what you said before. It wasn't your parents. It was the environment that kind of sprouted this road that you went down.
It was my decision. Every decision I made was my decision, and nothing was because of bad parenting.
No, it wasn't parents.
No. I didn't have mommy issues. I didn't have daddy issues. I had a father figure in my life, even though he wasn't my real father, but he was my father figure, and he did the best he could, and he did what he did, and he made us happy.
Yeah.
He made my mom happy, and then,
well, I think that's that parenting right there is what brought you back to picking up the reins for your boy, I think that's where some other possibly people that come out from being incarcerated don't take that road because they didn't have that good parenting to fall back on, to know what to do, to know how to fight for your kids,
Well, out of all this, there's a positive, I mean, I own 2 homes now. I co-own 2 homes now.
Yeah.
My brother and I, we own a house in Canada that was my father's. We both co-own that together. We co-own the home we're living in right now, which was my mother's house when she passed away. We co-own that home. We co-own that together.
Do you guys rent out? Do you rent out the one in Canada?
Actually, our half sister lives up there. Same father.
Okay.
So she actually is part co-owner with it as well. So it's not my half sister; it's my half sister's daughter. My niece is living in it up there.
Okay.
We don't charge her any rent or nothing.
I got you.
Take care of it, make sure, because there's a lot of stuff in that house. So we let her live in it. Just if something breaks, pay for it, upkeep the maintenance.
Any land?
It's on probably a good, I don't know, half acre.
Oh, okay.
Almost, probably a half acre, almost an acre, maybe. Decent sized land. It's all wilderness up there, man. There's like 20 something spring fed lakes up there. It's wilderness heaven, great fishing, 4-wheeling.
Oh man.
We got a little like outboard motor, aluminum boat. We got a 4-wheeler up there, a bunch of hunting rifles and stuff up there because, believe it or not, Frank's got felonies in the U.S. and can't have a gun license. But if I go to Canada, I got my gun license.
Yeah.
Ain't crazy how that works?
I think that's where we want to be if shit hits the fan. We want to be up in Canada. I'm coming to your house.
That's another thing is with all this stuff going on, I can scoot right up there. Like,
yeah.
Literally scoot right up there. I mean, it's it's wilderness heaven. It's right up your alley, man. You like the wilderness.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, I'm sure the sky in Canada is unreal. Like, the stars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see the northern lights and stuff, and a lot of times up there and everything and all that stuff. But
okay. We're recording. This is take 5, but we're going to end it. And I'm going to end it here with, we have a lot more to talk about. And I'm going to get this computer situated, and then we can actually have a conversation without me belting out a bunch of cuss words saying we're not recording anymore. So, but hopefully I can splice this together and get this out to everybody. But I think, first of all, Frank, thanks for sharing this.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
I don't think it's easy to talk about past, especially when they're ugly, but yours has a good ending and a great beginning, and the middle just got a little flustered, but it's always good to everybody's got their own journey, man. And I'm glad yours is in a better place. So I'm not done talking to you. Don't hang up on me, but we are going to end the podcast here because I don't know when this thing's going to stop recording again, and I don't feel like messing with it anymore tonight. So, like I said, thanks for coming on. We're definitely going to do this again. Maybe we can get you and JB in the same room, and we can actually have a conversation about some more fun stories.
Absolutely.
Some memories.
Oh, yeah.
but I'm glad everything's, you know, in a good spot. And like I said, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me out.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming out.